coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast.
And so that was like the biggest pivotal thing that I think helped move business forward, especially. And going into everything that's full time is like, well, I have this wealth of time now. What do I do with it? Kind of like the number one answer is as much outreach as possible.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Craig and Craig Magro.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform designed in-house by a real estate media company to really manage and grow our business, but ultimately to help you grow and manage your business as well. So welcome to another week. For those of you that are returning, for those of you maybe this is the first time watching or listening, just want to welcome you. We want to help you build a strong real estate media business and just give you some real life examples and stories of how to build that business and run it day to day to help you be successful. So we've got a special guest this week, but before we introduce him, let me introduce co-host and Spiro owner and founder, Todd Craig. Welcome back, Todd.
Craig, hey, great to be back. I took a little vacation and you got busy, which is, I think it's just great testimony. Like, we get busy too, y'all. Craig is in the day-to-day of a real estate media business, our business, Wow Video Tours. I still have a little bit to do. So you see us and then sometimes you don't see us. And I know that's the way your life goes too. So, but it's Craig, it's great to be back with you here on another week.
For sure. And just a note, I will be ducking out a little bit early because, again, I've got some business to take care of out in the field. So anyway, it's going to be a great week, Todd. We've got a guest on this week. We're really excited to hear from and hear his story and gain some wisdom, pick his brain a little bit on his journey and what's helped him be successful. But before we get to that, we always like to go over what is new in Spiro. What's going on with the software?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, we pushed an update that allowed you to revamp and give you a lot more options with your order page, specifically your bundle cards, the way you advertise. So if you haven't played with that and you have time, it might be good to look at your shopping cart order pages. Inside the bundle setup now, you have small, medium, and large cards. You can put tags on those. You can load multiple photos. You can load a video. So we really wanted to give you tools of how you could sell better and show your media on the order pages. So that's just a to-do in the back of your mind. If you don't feel like that's a gap right now, don't feel like you have to go redo that. Your system will look fine the way it is, even with those updates. Awesome. Moving into the next development cycle, we call it cycle 11. That's what we're on. Just a quick highlight here. We're going to revamp and look at revamping that marketing toolkit, giving you some increased and enhanced features and flexibility. Also looking at some property website templates and then a automated feedback method for you to ask your clients, hey, how did everything go after delivery? So it's going to be a two-pronged approach where if everything wasn't perfect and they didn't say 5 stars, you can say, hey, we want to take care of you. Let us know what your problem is. Call us, email us, whatever the contact information is. But if that client clicks 5 stars, and then you have the option to send them a different message that says, hey, thank you so much. We value you. Would you help us out? That's awesome. Click our Google review, our Facebook review, whatever review site you want to try to get your review. Craig, so I just recently went on vacation. And when you go on vacation, it was a new part of the area. We went down to Florida. Mm-hmm. And my brother had lived in this community or this city he just moved about 3 months ago. So he knew something about the area. And it just naturally, I think I search in Google. And, I look at, like my son wanted a skimboard, looking for a surf shop. We wanted bait, looking for bait shops, looking for baseball or basketball card shops. Like I search and I scroll. Jessica got a massage. Like I search and I read through the reviews. I don't know I think we all do that, but I think I do some weird things that not everybody does. But I feel pretty confident saying that if you can get more reviews for your business, it's only going to help you. I don't know if people are even going to websites in 2025 anymore. So
that's fair. Yeah, I don't know that I do.
Yeah. I mean, Google reviews, I think Amazon changed that in the way people buy online is people want to know what other people think about it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that update.
Awesome. Well, good deal. We'll keep those updates coming, and don't forget, if there is a feature that you're looking for in Spiro, we have a what is it, feature base?
Yeah, it's through feature base.
Yeah. So you can create a free Spiro account, and there is an option in there to either upvote current ideas for the software for development, or submit a new one and have others upvote it as well. And that kind of helps us organize what things get rolled out into the software, because we want the software to work for you. So there you go. All right. Anything else before we dive into things?
Craig, just a thanks to all of our listeners. I appreciate all of you. You all take such good care of us. I can't tell you how many calls I was on this last week and a half since I've been back. And everyone is saying, like, these are potential new users of Spiro. And these are clients that are doing 4, 5, 6, 7,000 shoots a year. These are large media companies. And they're all saying, hey, you guys are blown up in the forums. I had to hear what you're doing. So that's because of you guys. Thank you for that. I'm not asking for an unsolicited plug. If we do our job and you like what we do, anytime you say, hey, I'm happy with Spiro, it helps us. And you guys are doing that. Everybody's been saying it to me. So thank you for that. I don't say it enough. Just the love that you guys have is incredible.
Yeah. And I don't think we mentioned, I missed this, Todd, but one of our viewers on YouTube said, oh, by the way, congratulations on hitting 1,000 subscribers. I hadn't even noticed that, because, I mean, yes, we would love for more people to watch and listen, but I don't track that super, super tight. We've got other things, but man, I think we're past 1,040 now, Todd, even since that note came through. So guys, thank you so much. Yeah, truly humbled by that.
Craig, this is on a whim, and I don't even know if we would hire for this position, but if you're out there and because we don't focus on the podcast a whole lot, we jump on here. We love doing the actual recording of the podcast. We love connecting with the sphere, with our, someone like our guest today, bringing them on, but we don't focus on that thing. Somebody had to tell us we had subscribers. I had no clue who we had. So if that's something you love and you're like, hey, you guys could leverage this better, or you could reach and help more people by doing these things or cutting the videos that way, shoot me an email, please, and give me your ideas. Yeah. Maybe you could, work part-time for us and we could tune that thing up.
For sure.
Because we want to make sure that anything that guests bring on and that's valuable that could help your guys' business grow, we can get out to you and then more people.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. Alrighty. Well, speaking of having guests on, we do have a special guest this week. For those of you that attended the REPP 2024 concert, I'm trying to remember what year are we in. Man, time is flying, Todd. Go ahead.
He was at 23 and 24, and it wasn't. Okay. I think you said concert. You meant the convention, the conference.
Did I say concert?
You said concert, but I heard you're going to be performing this year, Craig.
Actually, I already had one performance, but yeah. I played drums back in high school, which was years ago. And, my youngest has now joined band as a fourth grader, and he has started playing drums. So I've been starting to teach him, and I'm like, man, I kind of miss playing drums.
Okay.
And decided to join our local community band. We've got 90 some members. I'm back in a percussion section. We had a concert about a month ago, and yeah, I'm loving it. I'm really rusty, but I'm loving it. Anyway, yeah,
Craig, I have an idea, and I promise we'll get to our guest here. Just fast forward 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this idea, y'all, and you'll get to something better. Craig, so the late night host, who was the guy who was just a drummer? Was there a guy that was just played drums? I know Letterman had the bald guy that was keyboards. I feel like there was a late night host that had, like, the guy in the band only played drums. Okay, it's not that important to my stuff.
I go to bed by 10 p.m. I don't know these. I don't know the late night shows.
Well, I said David Letterman. I mean, that shows how long it's been since I've seen one of these. But
right.
Okay, what if you were that guy at the conference this year, Craig?
Nope.
We could get you a drum set, and you could interact. You could have musical things and snares, and we get you bells, and you could bring all of that excitement and commentary to the conference this year, Craig.
Thanks. No, thanks. I'm the guy behind the camera, right? Not in front.
I don't think I'm going to I really like this idea right now as of 10:01 a.m. Eastern on April 4th here as we're recording this. I think we need to make this happen, Craig. But let's get to our guest.
Please. Thank you.
Yes. Please just comment below if you want Craig on stage in a drum set.
No, not happening. All right. So he was a conference speaker at REPP 2024 this past year and just shared a great presentation, some great thoughts. And Todd, from here, I'm going to let you introduce him.
Yeah, so he was at both conferences or 2 years in a row, 24 and 23. 23 was the first time I was at the REPP conference. And this individual, so first off, when he has a presence in a room, and I'm just like, okay, you notice this guy. And then we got to his part where he was talking about his business. And I was like, there's no way, like, this is honestly a machine. This is an AI robot that's dressed up in a nice sweater and presents well. And there's no way a human could do what he's doing. Wow. So yeah, okay. It's insane. And I think it shows that hard work and perseverance will get you where you want to go. And I'm excited to hear his business has grown and he's doing fabulous. He's got some exciting things happening in his life. We'll get all into that. I know some of you know he's a good friend of mine, Warren McCarthy with McCarthy Media. Warren, welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. How are you two?
Doing great. Excited to have you on.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I just also want to say I really appreciate you two having me on the podcast. It is a pleasure, it's an honor, and it's just fantastic. So I really appreciate you two. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for making time for us. So Warren, for those listeners that don't know you and your story, do you want to take a few minutes here and just kind of give us an idea? I think people always connect with what made you get into it. Why did you switch gears? You switched some pretty big gears. You had one path that was like, when you said that on stage, I was like, wait a minute, he was going to do that. And so if you could just give us a story, I think our listeners would love to hear it and they'll connect with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start from the beginning. So originally I was geared toward a medically oriented path. I studied at the University of Utah. I got my bachelor's in biology, minored in chemistry, and with an emphasis in anatomy and physiology. Wow. So I was doing all...
Craig, I mean, come on. I remember biology class. I was like, nah. And he had a degree in it. So
I would cram 5 minutes before class for our pop quizzes in anatomy class.
Yes.
Hats off to you, Warren. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what he said. He's like, "Hey, I'm in the operating room," and he's like, "I'm editing photo, not literally, but I'll let you tell the story, Warren. Sorry." But,
no, you're good. I was in the operating room. Oh my gosh, it was a blast. But I did my bachelor's degree. While I was doing my bachelor's, I was actually working up at the university in the operating room as an anesthesia technician, as like anesthesia assistant staff, stuff like that. And so with that, I was like, okay, so I'm geared up and ready. I've done a ton of research, like at the university. I'm working in the operating room. I have my degree, a minor, and an emphasis. I'm geared up. I have a full ride master's ahead of me at the Huntsman Cancer Institute. I was like, okay, we're ready, we're primed. And looking down the line, I was like, I want to do an anesthesia residency. I wanted to do the residency plus a cardiac fellowship. So I'd be working with a lot of the cardiothoracic doctors inside the operating room. I wanted to help run a lab with like 2 other PhDs outside of that, and a few more other tasks that's like department head related. And so I was like looking at all the time that I had, and I also love to teach. And I was like, well, with my background in anatomy and physiology, expanding that in medical school and then applying that, I was thinking, if I could teach at the medical school, that would be a lot of fun too. So there were like 4 different things that all required a ton of time. And like the effort put in, I had no quarrel with. I was entirely happy to put in the effort, but I was looking at the end result. And I was like, okay, as an anesthesiologist with a cardiac fellowship and like cardiac training, in addition to a lab, in addition to like teaching at the medical school, there was not a lot of time left in the day. And what matters a lot to me personally is a lot of family time. I was like, I don't know if this is going to translate very well until I hit about 55 or 60.
Oh, jeez.
So
Yeah.
I started to turn and I started to pivot. I was like, okay, well, I've done headshots and like some event photography. I've done some engagement photos in the past, like during my time at the university. And I was like, well, this is fun, but I haven't really found my niche. And so there was this one kind of like hallmark transition where I was helping out a family friend and we drove like 3 hours. We carpooled to just do like a once off real estate shoot. It was like kind of southern Utah ish, not quite to St. George. And I just got to experience like the whole transaction from the seller wanting to list, from like why they wanted to do something like selling one of their investment properties, rolling equity. There's like a lot of finance in it. And then I did the shoot. It was a ton of fun. And after that, just seeing that whole transaction kind of like work its magic, and both parties were incredibly happy in the end. And the agent was happy, like their clients were happy. It was just a fantastic transition from all the other stuff I was doing. I was like, okay, this, I can see potential in it. And I think it might be a lot of fun. And so I started to pivot. I found Eli online with like real estate kind of shooting and like running a real estate media business side of things. And I was always like, well, I want to like run some type of business. I literally had at the base of one of the trails near my parents' home, it's like in the summer, it is hot, it is blistering. I was like, you know what? I feel like people would want ice water at the bottom of this trail. So I bought an ice chest. I bought like ice bags from Costco and like water. I put like a little QR code. It's like, okay, it's like $1 per iced water bottle if you want to take one. And then alas, I got like maybe $4 and then all my bottles were gone. I was like, okay, maybe that's not going to work all that well. But returning back to the kind of original story. So I started to pivot. I was like, okay, this business opportunity might be exciting. It might be fun. I'll look more into it. And it started out as a passion project while I was working in the operating room. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start this and I need to roll with it because I need to make some type of transition and find myself in a new position with kind of my end goal in mind. And so that was like, okay, I need to reel back, I need to pull back and see what my other options are besides looking into the medical path. And I found the real estate media side of things, started rolling with it. And in May 15th of 2023, I had like the official start of business. And that's when I was not all in by any means. I was still working full time at the hospital. But the biggest transition for me was I had the gracious opportunity to not only just work days, but I could work nights. So I transitioned to working nights in the operating room and fueling the business during the day. And so that was awful for a long time because there's no sleep involved with that. And I do not recommend it to anyone. But it was a round robin schedule of 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., excuse me, working in the operating room, and about 7-ish, 7:30 in the morning to about 5:30 p.m. working on the business during the day. And that happened for like 3 days straight. And then so it was like 72 plus ish hours with minimal sleep every week for about 8 months. And that sucked.
Oh
so
no.
Yeah, it was awful. But we made it through. And and then in 2024, I believe it was March. I dropped my hours from full time to like picking up a couple shifts a week. And then after about a month, I was like, literally, even if I'm putting only 4 to 8 hours into this position, it's sapping 50% of my energy. So I just totally left it and transitioned fully into real estate media and have been there ever since. And it's offered like more time and more flexibility, I would say. Like, of course, we're all working a lot and working a ton, but it's also helped me learn a lot more about finding my end goal and spending a lot of time with family and being able to implement all of those elements into life now. And that was something that was really hard for me to do because I'm easily a workaholic and I love to work do stuff like that. But I was like, I have to create space for Daxi, my fiance. I have to create space for myself. I have to make sure there is that element of taking care of myself in the moment and not just thinking, oh, I'm going to get that later down the line. I'll have like a lot of family later down the line. So that was kind of the May 2023 start to now. Now the status is Daxi is running the business with me, and it's been fantastic. And we have 2 incredible photographers under us. We're onboarding a couple more VAs, and it's just been fantastic. And the connections we've made, the people we've met, the work we've been doing, and the good we've been doing for all of our clients has just been phenomenal. So it's been really, really fun. Really hard in the beginning, but transitioned, and here we are now.
Todd, Warren's story here just echoes what you have said over and over on this podcast about the purpose of creating a business, to make it work for you. I mean, Warren, you just proved Todd's point in, spot on.
Todd has a ton of wisdom. So
you're too kind. And that was something that a coach helped me on, is he defined what a business was. It's a business is a profitable enterprise that works without you and works for you. And I think that's the biggest thing. I wrote a few things down while you're telling your story, Warren. And every time I hear it, I love it even more and more. You said, I wanted to have the end goal in mind. And I think that is so important. You were working in a field where you were, like you mentioned, by the time you got to be 50, 55, you were going to be set, and you were going to be, money wasn't going to be an issue. Even before that, in that career space, anything doctoral, anesthesiologist, I had a neighbor who's a CRNA, and I'm like, you make that much money? And like, it's good money. But there, you devote your life to it, and you live at the hospital, you live where you're at. And what those individuals do is incredible. Like the way that they can save people and the things that are coming out. And you talked about, like being in a lab with other PhDs, like the things that our intellectual people and our doctors are creating it's life devoting, but it's life consuming. And just kudos to you for thinking about the end goal in mind. That is huge with doing that. And especially at the stage, like what did your parents say when you told them about this transition?
They were very upset, to say the least. They were very upset because I'm half Chinese, so there's also kind of like a cultural tie into it. But they were definitely like, "What are you doing? Like, you had full ride in college, you have a full ride master's, you have everything set up that so many people are like vying for." And I was like, I have to pull back from it. I have to. And it was a hard transition for me, and it made me upset too. I was like, is this the right path for me? And it was scary. It made me worried, like a lot of stress and anxiety. I was like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, because I'm pulling back from the thing I've been working on for forever, really.
It's kind of a paradigm shift in your life. So let me ask you, and I know, Todd, you have more points, but let me ask you, because I remember making my switch, and at the end of that 4 years, well, even throughout that time, what I experienced was just a season of thankfulness like I've never experienced before. What emotionally, what was it like for you, Warren, to make that transition and go fully in with what you were really passionate about?
It was incredible. Like, I was worried and fearful at the beginning, of course, like transitioning fully into just doing real estate media. I was apprehensive, but once I was in it, I'm like, I can devote so much more time, so much more effort, and feel good about all the effort that I'm putting in. And it's just fantastic. Like the CEO side of things go better. The brokerage presentations go better. Interacting with clients go better. And it was just, I was like, okay, well, this feels good. And I'm working towards something more. I can materially see the building blocks going into the business. and things working out for the better, refining processes, going through new things, experiencing hardships too, with like hiring, or hardships with clients, or hardships with like all other aspects of business that I would never have thought about otherwise. But being able to brace that without devoting other time and energy to a different avenue was really, really good to feel. It was honestly a relief.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that resonates with so many other people out there, Warren. You know, I think we have a lot of listeners that are dabbling, I would say, in real estate media. And that's okay. Much like you said, hey, I took my first shoot and this is kind of a flyer basically at this point. And you have to do that with things. You know, we can never just blindly jump into anything in life. We always have to test a little bit. But another thing that you said that you wrote down, you said that as you transition down to part-time in the ER, you said those even 4 to 8 hours were zapping 50% of your energy. And I think we all do it. We all say, hey, but it's good money. Like it's paying my rent right now. And I have these school bills. Well, you didn't because you had full rides, but I had school bill, you know, like those of you that we all have bills, right? Regardless of what it is. And we justify in our brain. I did this with wedding photography for a long time, probably too many years. And I had hired a staff. I was still shooting weddings. I had an admin that was running the business. I had we had a customer service person, and we probably had 4 or 5 photographers. And there was still some of those end years that I was shooting 6 to 8 weddings, and it was just like it was like, why am I doing this? And it's like, well, that's money that I don't know if it's going to be replaced. And I think that was a thought error in my brain of saying, hey, why am I trying to? No, Todd, get out of that thought. Because the way we replaced it is you're going to grow so much more. And it's the idea of the Mike Michalowicz book of pumpkin planting, of saying no to something so you can say yes to the bigger opportunity. So, that's amazing to see that, I'm sure that was a nice check for 4 to 8 hours in the ER, but saying no to one thing allowed you to say yes to the bigger pumpkin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was also just like I think fear of just taking that full leap that like I feel most business owners, like when they do that transition, experience. And like even working like 4 to 8 hours, I was like, it's fine, but it definitely took me away from so many other opportunities that were there before me. I mean, I was working during the week as most people do. The brokerage presentations happening during the week. The team meetings at the brokerages take time during the week. They don't operate on the weekends. And so I was like, you know what? Like these opportunities, I am missing every single one of them while I'm spending my time working. I need to find a way in order to make this work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so. If you're out there and you're saying, hey, I'm picking up a few shoots, I can think of a few people. I know of there's an individual that's a school teacher and trying to figure out how to make the business work. There's some other individuals that are working in other fields that I just specifically know that I've talked to. It's like, and I'm not singling you guys out, but take inspirations from Warren's story. Warren, let me ask you just a simple question. Was there ever this, like in this moment of like, I've got to quit, I've got to transition. Was it ever 100% clear that you woke up and you're like, boom, yep, I'm going to quit now. I'm happy. I'm good with it. Or were you always like, okay, I know I need to do it. And then you got a little more sure of it. Like if our listeners are out there waiting for this epiphany moment where they wake up and like the clouds say, quit your job, is that ever going to happen?
I would say it was definitely more slow transition, but when it happened fast.
Okay.
I remember I was in the operating room. I was taking on an additional shift, and I was like, it was, I think like 11 p.m. at night, and the shift ended at 2 a.m. I look at the clock. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I am up so late. I know I have to be up for a shoot at it was summer-ish area, I think. And I was like, I have a shoot early in the morning. I am not getting enough sleep. And I told myself, I pulled myself off nights in order to get more sleep, make sure I'm functioning better, make sure the business is moving forward. Literally, what am I doing? And so it was during that kind of like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Time frame. I was like, okay, literally, tomorrow I'm putting in my 2 weeks. Like, I cannot deal with this anymore. And so I put it in, waited out that last duration, and then after that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. So it was definitely a lot of buildup, like stress, anxiety until that point. And I was like, it was pretty immediate. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm fed up. I need this to stop. And so transitioned after 2 weeks, and then we were set and ready and primed for bigger things.
Yeah. Nice. And did you look back and at any point, do you look back and say, I probably should have kept my job?
Oh, absolutely not. No, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is a fine line there. Like I don't want to be the catalyst for you. Like Warren analyzed it very heavily. Like Warren, and you should analyze it. So there's a lot that we kind of skip through of analyzing and pros and cons list and a timeline. So I don't want to get you fired up today out there. And you like, if you're listening to this to you're on driving to work, like, please don't go quit today, your job. Like, please just make an informed, educated decision. But I think proof's in the pudding, and we hear this again and again, that when you can focus on something, it will expand. And that has happened, for Warren as well. So Warren, transitioning into beyond that, like, let's talk about, okay, so you had your focus fully on the business. It's like, now what? I get this question a lot where people say, hey, I've focused full time. I've made the jump. Like, what do I do now? How did you wade through those waters?
Oh, so I tried to set the precedent very early on. Like literally when I shifted to nights and worked nights and then worked on the business during the day, the prime concern that I think a lot of people were going through is like, oh, well, like my outreach is like, okay, I might like hit up maybe 5 people a day or something like that. And I think 5 people is a fantastic number. I was looking at that and people were having kind of, one, quarrels with it, and 2, struggling with it a little bit more. And I thought to myself, okay, if this is where people's weaknesses are, I need to make it my absolute strength. And so I did a massive amount of outreach. I mean, it was like over Instagram. I was going in, like meeting realtors. I was going to like even so far as like some open houses, stuff like that. But I ramped up my outreach like absolute crazy during the 8-ish months that I was in the operating room working nights. And that was the lifeblood of my business expanding, or our business, I would say, because Daxi is with me in it. And so that was like the biggest pivotal thing that I think helped move business forward, especially. And going into everything that's full time is like, well, I have this wealth of time now. What do I do with it? Kind of like the number one answer is as much outreach as possible. If people are doing anywhere like 5-ish K a month, 6K, 7K, making some good money, then I would say the biggest indicator of future success is all the things that they're doing on the daily with that wealth of time that they now have pulling back from a full-time job. They now have, one, either at least 40 additional hours during the week to do an amazing amount of outreach, and 2, to saturate that time with income generating activities, i.e. like shoots and stuff like that, and scheduling brokerage presentations now that they have time on their hands. Even going so far as like getting like sponsored positions in brokerages as well. Like sometimes it could be like a $500 ticket for a full year or something to that extent. But being the prime focus, being able to do a massive amount of outreach and let absolutely everyone who knows you and could know you know about your services, know about your incredible real estate media, know about who you are, what's your personality, what do you bring to the table, like who you are as a team member and an asset to them, what you can do to help them, from just listed and showcasing everything amazingly and shortening that time from just listed to under contract, like doing all of those things packed into now in a full-time open schedule.
Yeah. I think that's so smart in your business. And that's essentially filling the top of the funnel, and you have to fill your sales funnel. You have to let people know about you. I think sometimes as creatives, we can get caught in an infinite loop of thinking, I need to make my photos better. I need to make my video better. I need to offer this product, or this piece of equipment's going to help me. I'm sorry, y'all. And I say this with love from my heart. It's not. It is not. It is the relationship you have with your clients. Just a fact for you guys. At our media company, we shot over 12,000 tours last year. We're looking like we're going to do 13.5 this year. We're growing on our best year ever, and we continue to grow. And I will tell you that it is not our goal to have the best photos, the best video. We don't need it. We have to have good quality. But once it gets to an acceptable quality, we're done messing with it, because a little bit more is not going to get us anything. We have focused our time, energy, and efforts on customer service and building relationships.
Yep.
And that is why we grow. No realtor is ever going to look and say, oh, hey, did you upgrade to that new camera? I'm really noticing how you're able to layer blend those 7 images. I think really look a lot better because you got a little bit more dynamic range in the darks. Like, no one's ever going to say that. Realtors, I hate to tell you, a lot of them don't even really look at your stuff. They look at every so many listings because they're busy. And you don't ever want to be caught with a realtor checking up on a listing going like, why is that there? Or why is that bad? So you have to be of certain quality. But honestly, they are busy. They trust you. You deliver on it, but don't have the wrong expectations of what quality you need to deliver, because it just doesn't work. Warren said that he focused on those 8 months of building relationships.
Yep.
Craig, you have thoughts on that?
I mean, nothing I haven't said before. I look at my own media that I shoot in my market, and it's solid. I mean, I try to always do a good job and pay attention to detail. But I know even within our own company, there are other photographers in other markets that I think are better than I am. But I think what has helped me be successful, just like Warren has shared, is the relationship building. I've been at this now, 5-ish years total, 5-6 years total, and I've developed great relationships. And Warren, just like you, I grinded. I was at the industry events. I was at the board events. I do brokerage presentations. I take realtors out to coffee. I get to know them as people. These are people that have families and have kids, and they have crazy schedules as realtors. And just meeting them at that human point of identifying with the stress that they're under, trying to alleviate the issues that they're facing, in their business, helping them win more listings. It's all relational based. And Todd, I couldn't agree more. I read through some of these forums and the nitpicking, and I'm going to call it nitpicking on the quality of the photo and flambient versus HDR. It's like we're having pretty good success, not stressing out too much on those things, but still, I don't know. I could ramble on, but Warren, I'm right with you. You're on the right track. And it's proving out for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been really cool to see like the difference between focusing on like the creative aspect and then the business building aspect, the relationships aspect, and seeing all of that come together. Like even sometimes I'm like, well, how do I still create relationships? How do I still strengthen relationships? I'm like, am I missing something? Is there something else I need to be doing? But it's always falling back to like the roots and like what you've been doing in the past and expanding on that maybe a little bit. And it really works itself out. It works itself out as long as you're intentional with it, just like you've been saying.
Warren, I'm gonna pivot a slight bit, because before the show we talked a little bit about an aspect of your business that we really haven't talked a lot about on this podcast, and you agreed to talk about it. And I think it's something that many of us are in. I know myself, when I started the business, I was dating an individual. So, she was with me as the businesses got started. Then we got engaged and got married. And she had some roles and some things that she did. And mainly she did them because she loved me, not really because it was her passion. So I think there's some times I look back and I'm like, oh, that was a misstep by me, because maybe the way I reacted or my expectations of my wife Jessica. And you kind of have the same scenario with your now fiance Daxie. So would you like to just comment a little bit? Because I think we have other listeners out there that have, their significant other, and maybe they're dating, married, or engaged or married. But how are there any tidbits of things that you've learned, or how are you guys working together? You have any tips on working together with the person you love and growing a business?
Let's see. I'm definitely not all knowing by any means. So, but what has worked for Daxi and me, I'll also kind of preface like where Daxi was with me during the process. We started dating in 2022, like before I even had a glimpse of like running a
Okay.
real estate media business, and now we run it together. So she handles a lot of like the admin style tasks. I do like like CEO slash sales slash like still on site. As for, and this is still something I'm working on, like as for dedicating more time to like your loved ones, like initially I was awful at it, especially in those 8-ish months of like round robining nights. Like she literally held everything together, and she was like, she gave the utmost support, and she was absolutely incredible, and she is incredible. And during that whole process, honestly, I would not be where I am today. We would not be where we are today without her help during that critical period. And she's helped me ever since. And ever since I started in May 2023, like she would make sure everything is looking great. It's like I was exhausted beyond belief, but I was still working, and she was patient. She was kind. She helped me so much. And it starts to bring like tears to my eyes just talking about it, because she has been so pivotal to our success and like our vision for the future. And it's just been amazing. And I think ever since then, I was like, I need to make sure that I'm putting in more effort. I need to be putting in more effort, one, into our relationship, but also into finding that boundary between this is work and this is personal. And I'm still struggling with that. I still have clients who are like, hey, like I know it's Saturday, but my clients they have like XYZ reason. And I initially was available all week, like 7 days a week. I will shoot every single day. And then I'd shoot Saturdays, I shoot Sundays. I'm back on Monday and doing a full week. And ever since I would say probably late last year of 2024, like more October, November, I've really started being able to implement more processes that are like, okay, I need to make sure I'm being able to step away. I'm not available to my clients at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night. I need to be much more present with Daxi and with our relationship, because it's huge, and it's important to me. Like I realize it is important to me, but my initial mind was like, oh well, I need to make more time for clients. I need to make sure they're well taken care of. But I was lacking so much in giving more time, attention, and care and love and trust to Daxi, and she's been fueling absolutely everything since the beginning. And so she more than has deserved and earned everything that I have. And so with that, I would say trying to find a good way to finding a way to like step back from work, but not leaving clients hanging per se, but establish boundaries and be like, hey, like after say maybe 6 p.m., 7 p.m., I am with my family. And like Daxi and I don't have kids. And so I know that's huge with having a family and being able to allocate time to loved ones and to my fiance. Like that's huge. And setting that precedent early, the earlier the better. The more that clients know they can't reach out at 11 p.m. or call at 11 p.m. to schedule a shoot for the next morning, the better. So I would say boundaries is huge. Boundaries is huge. And then also communication is huge. And I'm not the best communicator by any means. I have a lot of stuff that I need to work on, but communicating well and also being able to be like, hey, I have a client who's texting me about something. Is it okay if I manage this real quick and then we can get back to XYZ? And this could be like on a Saturday at 3 p.m., something like that, where were on a walk near a lake or something, and just being able to make sure your partner or significant other or loved one knows you're not just ignoring them. You're not just doing Instagram DMing while they're talking to you, you know? So it's making sure that connection is there, that transparency is there, and making a space specifically for them. And that, again, I am not the expert at this whatsoever. I'm still working on a lot of these things that I'm talking about, but it has been significantly better. And so I think with other real estate media business owners or business owners in general, making space for family and for the ones that they love and care about, I think is just huge, because that's why we made our business, to fuel our desires. And also part of that is to help the people around us and help the people who support us, especially with Daxie, my fiance. She supported me ever since the beginning. And I'm so grateful for everything that she has done, like beyond grateful. And it's just been pinnacle to our success, to the way we live life and the way we want to live life.
That word presence just jumped out at me. Yeah, because you can be away from work, but still not be present with those around you that you love and care about. I mean, I had a position at one point that even when I wasn't at work, I was at work, and that was not healthy. So yeah, establishing the boundaries to be able to create presence for those around you that you love and care about, that's huge, Warren. I'm proud of you that you've recognized that early and are working to make that a possibility for Daxie and others in your family. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We always talk about communication and expectations, Craig. And I think that's what Warren just said, making sure that we set boundaries, that's expectations, and communicating. And I think if you're out there thinking, I know I was talking to an individual on a coaching call yesterday, and she was at a point that she was just doing everything, and she needed to hire, or she needed systems. She needed a photographer, she needed an admin. If you're worried out there that clients won't use you because they expect to contact you after 5 p.m., after 7 p.m. for you to shoot on Saturdays, for you to shoot on Sundays, that may actually be true. It's probably not true. That's probably a thought error. If you have a relationship with them and you say, hey, I'd really love to help you, these are my hours, like after 7 p.m., and they're like, hey, that's not okay with me that you don't leave your family and come work for me after 7 p.m. or my beck and call, then you need to tell them that that's not okay. You need to, because saying no to some of those clients will allow you, even if they transition, if they leave, saying no to them will allow you to say yes to other better clients. Just a quick story. At our media company, we have a relationship with a large company in a couple of our cities, and we are raising prices, and we didn't really feel the support from them through some of the way we like to set up a brokerage deal. And we didn't really get the support from the company, and we stepped away from one of their programs because it wasn't good for us. And a lot of their clients stayed with us. A lot of the agents stayed with us because we had the relationship. And we've been honoring pricing, and they get really good pricing, and it's just way too low, and we're raising it, and it's like 1,000 shoots a year, and it's a good amount of shoots a year. And for that, there was this pause of hesitation of like, well, what if we lose them all? And I told Steve, and Steve already had the same thinking. It came more from some of the team. I was like, if we lose them all, then we're going to get better clients. If we lose those 1,000 shoots, we're going to get 1,000 shoots that are a lot better. Clients that appreciate us more, clients that pay more, clients that don't complain or look for the lowest price. So it's painful. It's definitely painful, but it is what is healthy for your business. And Warren's been talking the whole time about having the end in mind, and saying no to bad clients now allows you to say yes to good clients and continue and end with those clients. So now, looking at your business in 2025, Warren, what does the future hold? What's on your mind? What's top of mind? What are you working on? Where are there some gaps? What are you excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. So for 2025, we are in April now. Our first quarter was great. And we are like relative last year too, like we have been doing amazing, especially with our team in place. We have 2 photographers slash videographers. We are onboarding 2 VAs right now. And Daxie and I, Daxie and I have talked about this a little bit more. And like our ideal is I want to have us to be able to pull me away from more shoots. Because as of right now, I'm like, we're not even to peak season, and I am saturated with like 6 shoots, maybe like
Wow.
7 some days. I'm like, I need to make sure, one, I'm giving these to my photographers as well, but 2, I need to pull myself out of shoots so I can focus on a lot more of the CEO like side of things. I can focus on more things with Daxie where we collab, where we're doing more brokerage presentations, we're doing more outreach, we're doing more marketing. And Daxie actually handled a lot. Like she handled the entire process basically for hiring our employees,
Wow.
which took a ton of time off of my plate specifically. And so I was kind of there just like at the end, like seeing some of the candidates that she had in mind. And then ultimately we both kind of sat down and went with like our final candidates after rounds of interviews, but she was doing all of the interviewing, like round 1, round 2 for interviews, and doing a ton of like the Indeed postings and stuff like that. And being able to have someone who was able to allocate that time outside of my schedule specifically to run all of those time consuming admin tasks, I didn't have to slow down, which was incredible. And I think that's like a big advantage, like as a couple working in business, where Daxie was able to do her part as kind of like the chief administrator for our company, being able to make sure everything is in check with hiring employees, maintaining employees. And we have like our team meeting every week. And she literally made like a team meeting sheet. It's like, this is start time, end time. These are the things we want to hit on. And like all of these other things that I didn't even think about. And so that was incredible. And it's great to see that process being implemented and looking to the future. So we also are looking probably to hire our 3rd photographer.
Awesome.
And maybe in looking toward the future, if we could get to a point where I'm removed from shoots, we have 4, maybe 5 photographers under us being able to handle our shoot volume, that would be incredible. Like absolutely incredible. And we have 2 right now, looking to get a 3rd. And it's all, I think, all about like speed too, especially when like hiring well, of course, like hiring with quality and making sure those systems are vetted, ready to go, but being able to hop on it as opposed to doing exactly what I did last year. And I did a ton of volume all by myself. I was like, what's the limit that I can push? And it was all just a numbers game. I did it all myself, but I was not making time for all the other things in my life. It was literally just work all the time. And now being able to have a team that's able to support Daxie and I in business, handling more shoots, like our Wednesdays are absolutely wild. We have a ton of shoots and it's fantastic. And just seeing them be able to grow, being able to do all the things they need to, and having us grow as well as a team has been huge. And I don't think anyone regrets having a team in place, especially while Daxie and I, we recently got engaged. We actually flew out to China, to my mom's hometown, got engaged there, and had part of our trip in China, went to Japan and had a part of our trip in Japan, and then came back. But we were gone for 2.5 full weeks. And our team was there with the systems that we have in place. They were still handling shoot volume. We still had our biggest month this year while we were gone for over half of it. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really, really cool just being able to have a team and also looking forward. And I know a lot of people out there might be comparing themselves like, oh, well, Warren's doing this, or someone else is doing this, or like these other companies are like doing all these big things and I'm not. And the kind of like unhappiness by comparison definitely is something I need to work on a lot too. But being able to recognize that markets are different, the things that are being done in your market specifically, or your efforts inside your market, are not to be discounted either. Like your goals and aspirations are something that can materialize as long as you're continuing to work toward them. And like doing a direct comparison to other companies isn't a reflection on oneself. So I think that's definitely something a lot of us have run into, like at least I have specifically anyway. And it's tough. And especially looking at bigger teams, like I want to have like a bigger team that looks like this company. But I just have to kind of start grounding myself. Daxi also grounds me with these topics as well. And she's like, it's okay. Like we are fantastic where we are. Like, look at where you were last year. Look at where we were 2 years ago, like working like crazy, doing nights, doing days. And it was just insane. But where we are now, and look at what we have and look at what we've accomplished so far, and being able to have that ground has been fantastic, especially for moving forward too, laying the foundation for more success and more things to come.
Yeah. So insightful, Warren. You know, I think as Eli says this a lot, where as your business grows, business only gets easier. It's still hard, but it gets easier. You know, think back to, just like you mentioned, think back to working 2 shifts, you know, in the ER and shooting and doing that 72 hours without sleep. Like, you know, while we all have gaps and things we want to solve today, you know, I have a list of them over here on a whiteboard of things I want to solve. Like I think back to many years ago, I'm like, oh, it's a lot better than doing that. So it only gets better. You know, I think I'm going to just challenge all of our listeners out there to start with the end in mind. I think I see that in everything you do. And I think it's why you're so successful is you're understanding where you want to end. And that allows you to build smartly, efficiently, and well, because you know where you're going. So I love that. Warren, I just can't thank you enough for all the insight. If anyone wants to reach out to you, check you out, or shoot you a message, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh yeah, so reaching out to our Instagram account, it's at McCarthy Media Co. So MCCARTHY Media CO. That's our best point of contact, basically, for all listeners, stuff like that. And if you have any questions or anything that I could also like lend some insight to, just feel free to hit us up anytime. And we usually check Instagram DMs pretty regularly, so I'll make sure to be able to get back to you.
Love it. Well, thanks again, Warren, for all the insight that you've shared. Congrats on your business, and we'll have to have you back on again. We'll get an update here. Are you willing to come back on again and share some knowledge with us?
Oh, absolutely. It is a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate you, Todd, for having me on, Craig for having me on the podcast. And it's just been incredible. And being able to see where you guys have been going with your business has also been incredibly insightful for Daxi and I. We have like incredible goals that we want to reach, and you two are an inspiration. And I really appreciate you having us.
Oh, well, you're too kind. It's all our pleasure. Thanks for everything you shared today. And we will definitely get an update soon from you.
Sweet. That sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Todd.
Oh, all our pleasure, Warren. Well, awesome. Well, that is going to do it for us today. Hey, lots of little nuggets in there. This is one you're going to need to re-listen to. And don't feel overwhelmed from it. Like Warren mentioned, this isn't something that you need to compare yourself to. If you can implement something, if you're like, hey, I connect with that, I need to start doing that, you know, it might be a good nudge forward. So thanks for spending some time with us. We really appreciate you. Have a great week coming up here, and be thankful for all of your blessings, and be sure to take a breath. Till next week, y'all. We'll see you.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.